Okay guys, it's been a while since I last had a cut. I wanted to do a quick update. I actually got quite a bit done. I did a little bit more mining. No actual real machines yet, except if you consider this transformer slash converter a machine. What I wanted to say that if you guys are actually having difficulty finding a certain vein in this pack. So for me, I was struggling to find lapis and I was struggling to find lead ore. And I realized that, you know, he gave you the, Damien gives you guys the Omni store, right? The coin shop to buy ores. Well, you can extend the usefulness of the Omni store because instead of buying, so I bought lapis, I bought lead, and I bought silver. And then what I did was I also crafted the block scanner module for my scanner. And you can just right click on the scanner and it'll just be like, all right, now it's tagged to lapis. You can check because the NBT tag of the block says, you know, NBT block Greg Tech or lapis 0. Or, you know, if you're more technically minded, you could check the craft tweaker ID and it should have the Greg Tech lapis ore on there. Now once you have that, you could put it inside the lapis ore. And one of the big important things is that when I said earlier, block modules only nerf the range by half, whereas ore modules nerf the range by 1/4. So if you have two range modules, which boosts the scanner range to 128, half of that becomes 64. And since, you know, average world height is about roughly 64, you can pretty much find what you need now just by running around on the surface. So look at that, bam, I just found lapis really easily. It was right near my base the whole entire time. And in fact, the main reason why I missed it in the first place because it was actually covered by oil sands. So when I dug down, I think I saw oil sands for the first time, and that's why I didn't care about it. That's what I also repeated it for Galena, and this is super useful if you need to find diamond, you need to find platinum. Get your first couple Omni coins, then just put a block scanner on it. And the block module isn't even that expensive. It's well, I mean, it requires some stuff. It requires some gold and coated circuit boards, but you can get all of these from a magnetite vein, right, and a rubber tree sapling. So even before LV, you can find yourself all the ores you really need without going crazy into the coin shop. Second of all, I upgraded all my furnaces into copper just because I didn't have silver yet. But now that I have silver, I just might upgrade them all into gold just because at first I dismissed the speed because why make more of these furnaces, right? When I could, why bother upgrading when I could just make more normal furnaces? They have 2 slots. Well, even the iron furnace has 2 slots, so that's pretty useful just because it's just an extra buffer. I don't need to put a hopper and stuff. And then lastly, I also got some books. Another server member, he found a village, raided it, and you know, we combined our book sources together. So now we have about 30 books in enchantment table, which is super important because you can enchant Greg Tech tools and thermal foundation hammers. So now that I have Unbreaking a diamond mining hammer, it'll just give me extra, you know, extra mileage out of my tools. Nothing too crazy, and you can enchant all your Greg Tech tools, right? Or you can also enchant, well, your Greg Tech tools for crafting and miscellaneous tasks. But if you really want to do harvesting, I'm gonna say find diamond, make yourself a diamond hammer and diamond excavator. And that's just how early on it is. And I guess I'm taking my pace really leisurely because I'm pretty sure if you really tried, you can get to MV and aluminium. And you can even get some of the drills. But once again, that's also locked behind lost cities for me because I don't really have lost cities in this world. I have to make the bed portal to get to lost cities to get to the drill core. So that's the big one for me. So if you have a similar start to me, or if you don't have access to a drill core, you know, this is a very cheap recipe considering the amount of diamonds you get. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend getting some diamond and enchanting that instead. Now, I think that, oh yeah, if we want to explain what this is steam dynamo, powering water, blah, blah, see. So basically what's going on here is that steam dynamos, before, I'm not sure if you saw them before, but an early version of thermal expansion, they actually only took in steam and then they would produce power that way. You would have to, well actually no, I think you could actually put furnaces. Yeah, never mind. So this setup here is basically what the quest book just tells you. You basically have a steam dynamo, infinite water source auto ejects. I actually don't know. This says it produces 1 millibucket per tick. I don't know how much water a steam dynamo requires, but I think one of these can support 2 of them, maybe more. It produces about 40 RF per tick, which translates to about 20 EU per tick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the CEF. I'm going to probably put a 4 amp tin cable and have my machine array here just for a little bit and get started here. Also, I started planting some rubber woods and I have my continued wood production up. This is still manual. What I do is I actually keep wrought iron axes. I just ran out recently. There, found him. I keep wrought iron axes in his chest, and I check back like once every 10-20 minutes. It's not a big deal for me. And what I'm going to eventually see is that you're going to see more terraforming. I've been placing more and more grass blocks just to flatten out this whole entire area. I think what I want to do is maybe like a village style with all the machines. I'll have you know, the usual farming area, agriculture area, the industrial area, the heavy workhouse, the stables, the fusion reactor, the water mill, you know, the extrusion plant. I haven't decided what my vision for this place yet. It's still gonna be a flat group of buildings. I don't think I know how to build any other way. I don't think I want to build any other way because I think it'll take too much time. But other than that, yeah, that'll wrap it up for the second episode, or maybe third episode, depending on how long I cut the content. Or this might even be the middle of the third episode. Who knows? I just did a bunch of recording today and I didn't even edit it. So we'll see what happens. First thing, actually, when you're looking at a lot of the processes in GregTech, just remember that one GregTech energy unit, one GTC EU, or just EU, is worth 4 RF. So this actually requires 32 RF per tick, which is why you actually need, you know, at least one steam dynamo powering it. And RF doesn't have energy loss, so you can go straight from the one of these steam dynamos into the CEF into the wire mill. But I think I want to show you is that a lot of the electric machines in GregTech, they have other functionalities like auto export and auto input. So, but in order to configure that, you sometimes just need a wrench. Because right now here, when you, and I love this wrenching methodology that GregTech has that other tech mods don't. So on any side, normally if you want to wrench something to face the output, you have to go to this side, right, and be like, there's my output. I just have to wrench this. But what GregTech does is that you can actually wrench it to the right side, back side, front side from any side you're on. So if I want it to face downwards, I just have to go to the bottom part of the grid here and it'll wrench downwards. And all I need to do is just activate this button and it'll activate the auto export into the small storage crate, which means I don't have to like climb on top, then shift and wrench it downwards, right? And if I wanted to wrench the back side here, I can just, you know, go to this one of these 4 corners here because that represents the other side. And there you go, it's facing outwards. And now it's orange because I activated this item export. They're usually they're color consistent, so it makes sense. You could tell which one is facing what. But yeah, there are going to be more tricks in GregTech now. They're actually getting into the meat of the pack that I've been eager to show you guys instead of just me running and mining around. So I'll be doing some more cuts. My plan is to actually get a larger machine array going and get some more power. I mean, these steam dynamos are pretty dinky and they use quite, I mean, they don't use that much energy, but they use quite a bit. So we'll see where I want to go with this. You have to disable the overclocking actually when you put down most of these machines, because by default they will allow overclocking and they'll actually use up more energy than advertised. This is a very simple trap to fall into. So for example, let's just say if I look at the recipe for fine copper wire, only 8 EU per tick. So as I said before, only 8 EU per tick. So you can easily do this, right, with one steam dynamo, because that only requires 32 RF per tick. And this thing can do up to 40 RF per tick max. However, that's where the problem comes up, because it'll automatically overclock, because a wire mill at LV can take up to 32 EU per tick. So it'll just be like, hey, since 8 EU per tick is less than 1/4 of 32, it'll automatically overclock to go up to 30 to try and, you know, fully use the full 32 EU per tick. And that's how GregTech overclocking works overall. If a recipe's voltage can be multiplied by 4 and still be less than the voltage of the machine, then it will overclock it and let it do the recipe faster. However, you know, like once again, I don't have the power generation to support 32 EU per tick or 128 FE per tick. So that's why I just turned it off. Another thing too, it's also a little bit tricky. Just because when you disable overclock in its processing, it won't actually register the overclock is disabled. So what I did was just break it, replace it, disable overclock before putting anything else in there, and then you can have it set up. So just to make sure that you're not accidentally overclocking when you're using your processing machines. Interesting. So it turns out I was actually going through and trying to scan for platinum ores because, you know, platinum tools and thermal foundation tend to be better than diamond tools. They also have a higher enchantability. So I figured, hey, with the size of these giant ore veins, let me just look for platinum stuff. And it turns out that platinum veins are really, really small. I found an uninterrupted platinum vein, and it seems to only be a 5x5 ellipsoid. So just a heads up for you guys, if you also want to try and find platinum as well for better tools. You're not going to find a lot of it in the overworld. You might have to wait till you get to the end for that. But then again, I mean, I don't think the end is that heavily gated either. Like, I'm pretty sure you can just find a fortress, right? And ender eyes or just require a chemical reactor. But still, just a heads up if any of you were planning that. Oh snap! Cobalt actually gives you a full set of haste 3. Huh, that might actually make my mining go a lot faster. How do I turn this on though? Oh well, I guess when I'm mining I could just use this cobalt stuff. I found some dark steel boots, or actually no, Tommy gave me some dark steel boots. He was exploring, found a couple of villages. He had like 4 extra pairs. I guess they weren't removed from the loot tables or something. Which is nice because when you're traveling, cobalt boots are actually pretty useful with a hang glider, especially if you have jump 3 on them. Triple jump up and then fly down. So right now I'm looking for uraninite. I actually think I found some. No, I did not find some. Yeah, so I'm gonna look for uraninite. I'm gonna scan around for a bit and see what turns up. This is because I want to get some item conduits just to help logistics better. Greg Tech has non-existent item piping, and thermodynamics I think was not in the pack. Yeah, thermodynamics is not in the pack, so it looks like conduits are the way to go. Oh, okay, well that was easy. Found it. Okay, works for me. Nom nom nom, give me that uraninite. Oh, sweet pulsating dust. And then we alloy that with a delicious bit of iron, and we get ourselves some pulsating nuggets. Well, specifically pulsating iron, which I want for item conduits. And it's just funny because normally there's like a shittier tier of item piping available. I guess hoppers count in this instance, but normally there's like a shitty tier of piping available before you get access to item conduits. It's just like, just throws you in it. It just skips around, just like, you know, I'm not even gonna play around, guys. I'm just gonna give you item conduits because there's no other point otherwise, which I can kind of appreciate, you know, if the whole entire point of this mod pack is to just, you know, build a really big factory and automate a lot of things, then I guess why would it bother messing around with, you know, other mods? Okay, that was poorly said. What I'm trying to say is that if it's the whole entire thing's about like building big factories and stuff like that, base simulator 9000, why would you bother with less logistical good piping early on? And also in terms of progression wise, if they give you applied energistics too early, which is arguably better than item conduits in most regards, then you might as well put item conduits before that. So it makes sense. But it's just like when they give you, I can understand the appeal when you have like item ducts, right? Instead of just magical teleportation forms of item transfer, you could see it go through the pipe. That has a very nice aesthetic charm to it, but you know, I guess it just really varies on the person and what they prefer. Okay, so I did a little bit of mining. I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but I also got cobalt, which actually, yes, it doesn't actually show the haste, but I think I did notice an anecdotal difference at the speed of mining when I was wearing the full suit. So I thought that was kind of nice. And now that I have item conduits up, and also I'm going to start getting these steam dynamos going, I think I just might build out the LV array, and then I'll really start planning on what I want to do for power, because I can either go the Greg Tech route, the RF generator route, but I really do feel like a lot of the Greg Tech power systems, even though it's 4 times inherently more powerful than RF, the RF systems are just easier to scale and build. I mean, to be honest, I think it'll just require less resources if I just go the RF generator route. But it really depends on how deep, you know, Damien went in terms of balancing it. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm actually at a loss what to do right now. Pulsating mesh requires carbon mesh, carbon fiber, which is palladium. Wow, they're putting us with palladium this early. Yeah, because at the minimum it requires MV fluid extraction. What's a pulsating mesh even used for? Okay, simulation chambers. Alright, cool. There has to be a different way to get carbon meshes. That can't be the only way. Okay, yeah, there's coal dust and string. All right, you know, it's funny. It's just like, why even bother having it? Because this is so much of a harder recipe. Like, much harder. Plus, palladium's a pain in the ass to get. So, this is like a world. This is like a world away. I would have just removed the old recipe. Just remove it. You know, don't confuse people. But yeah, okay then. So carbon meshes is pretty easy. I think what I want to work to individually is just get an applied energistic system and get a constant power source. I have a pretty manual power source, right, with these axes that I'm using. Right, I'm just cutting this down. It's probably detecting the spruce tree all the way up top. Still waiting. I just like you're not seeing anything. Okay, now there we go. Oh, that's annoying. It cut off all the leaves, so none of the trees were connected. Oh, this is the most annoying way to cut down a tree. Damn it. Let me also turn down the particles from the rain just because it gets annoying. And let me also replant the stuff. Also, what I want to know is, what format do you guys prefer when I'm doing this? When I'm playing Minecraft, do you just want me to just tune in every now and then? Not a lot of cohesion in between the cuts, but it's a lot faster. You guys just get the action, like wham bam, thank you ma'am. Or do you prefer for me to just keep on recording, bring up any thoughts, and obviously I'll cut out the really boring parts or the parts of long silence. But I mean, it depends. Do you want something to be like super short, or a compilation of clips together, and you occasionally get an update on my base, or do you guys want to hear me ramble about, I don't know, parents and swearing philosophies these days? You know what I found out? They found out this. It was rumored that if you swear within like the first 30 minutes on YouTube, you get demonetized. First of all, none of my videos are monetized. I'm not popular enough for that. Plus, I'm not even sure. I don't even know how to get it monetized, right? I don't even know if I have enough viewers or whatever that shit is to qualify. So first, I don't even care. Nothing affects me if I just get demonetized for swearing. But isn't that insane? Like, first 30 minutes, considering the length of some videos or podcasts, and then they don't even care after that? I mean, I guess they can't scan every single video there is inside YouTube, right? That's just way too much data to scan constantly, and it's way too much content that people are constantly creating. But that's still like, I don't know. I feel like they would just have a better hard fast rule or something. I don't know. But yeah, after that, I'm still at a loss what I need to do. Okay, so let's back it up. The general thing in most playthroughs is that you want to have a storage system, automated resources, automated processing resource, and automated utilization of those resources, right? So that's like the 4 pillars. So you want a cohesive storage and automated utilization, which is, you know, auto crafting. So that will be applied energistics, right? So let's just check out how bad is a charger. I don't even have electric blast furnace yet, but you know, I'm just curious. So I have to make an energy acceptor. Okay, sure. LV machine hull, delicious. All right. Electrical steel, cool. Where the electrical steel plate. Okay, silicon dust steel. Silicon's pretty hard to get unless you have MV level electrolysis, so I will need MV. Fine, so we'll just need better power sources. And the thing is, for better power, we can either just keep going the dynamo route, and I don't think that nuclear craft turbines are available yet. We can go the dynamo route. I know a lot of people are using magmatic dynamos. I'm not, because I'm not a bitch. I'm not going to pump the nether. We could go the reactive dynamo route. That sounds kind of cool. Pneumatic dynamo is just I never understood pneumatic dynamos. If anything, pneumatic dynamos should just be free, because their fuel philosophy is so terrible, right? It just uses like nether quartz and gems. Like, I don't know, why would you, like, I guess maybe when you have micro miners, these things can go infinite, but I don't know, I never really thought of these as like being viable. Right? Like, so definitely not that. So reactant dynamo is pretty cool though. It has the coolest combination of stuff. You can combine sugar, destabilized redstone. Well, that's a really shitty return though. Energized glowstone blaze powder. Not bad. This is the one that I'm really looking at, gallic cryothium and pyrotheum dust, which is nice if you can have a constant feedback loop going. You can really go infinite if you have like deep mob learning and simulation chambers. Plus, reactant dynamos have a really high threshold. So, and by threshold I mean it's they output more RF per tick than steam dynamos do. Unless like steam dynamos have like a turbine conversion outfitted. Yeah, because you know, it's been a while since I last actually automated thermal expansion stuff this way, right? Gallic cryothium, blizz powder, sure. I can technically get blizz powder from snow elemental reduction fluid. I can also probably get it from blizz rods, which gets from loop fabricators, which is coming from pristine thermal matter. You know, there's another way though. Is there not a deep mob learning? All right, Iteration Funk, I know you're watching this, don't let me down. So I can get pristine thermal matter because it also pops out overworldian matter. All right, but nothing in overworldian matter actually lets me craft more blizz rods. So my fuel source is really heavily throttled by pristine thermal elemental matter. Okay, that's fine. Let's look at blizz rod made from well, this is like 40, right? Because that's 8 blizz rods per pristine thermal elemental matter. Then you macerate the shit out of that, right? Or you pulverize that, you get 4. Okay, so 8 times 4 is 32. And then that makes, you know, 2 of those makes 2 cryothium dust. So that's like 32 cryothium dust. So that's like 32, you know, times 400,000 RF. I guess my question is, how fast can I really produce the pristine thermal elemental matter? And in that case, the plan is, loop fabricator. I don't think they take that much RF per tick. God, you know the sad part? When Iteration Funk was making deep mob learning, I requested something like the loop fabricator. And the worst part is we disabled it from interactions. I was just like, when we hit that realization, I'm like, oh shit, should I tell him? And I just chose not to. Look, guys, if you want to know the secret to making good packs, it's ask mod devs, make lots of requests, and then ignore half of them. Don't. It's horrible. Don't be like me. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, pulsating mesh, right? Now it's like me desperately trying to change the subject. All right, hold up. There was another way to make blizz powder. It was like correctional fluid. Was it correctional fluid? Sounds like that comes from elemental reduction fluid. Correctional fluid sounds like something that comes from a prison. All right, elemental reduction fluid is just pulsating and hydrofluoric acid. Interesting. You do so. 1 snow makes 10. So pulsating dust can be pseudo-infinite. Pseudo-infinite means that it could come from deep mob learning. Because you can get ender pearls from deep mob learning, right? You get ender pearl dust after you crush it up, electrolyze that. Oh, this is an EV level recipe. Fuck that noise. So I guess you can't go infinite. I wonder if you can go, if there's a way to automate this cauldron recipe. Aqua Fortis is nature essence, water. Nature essence is just primal nature essence. These custom recipe maps are completely new to me. I've never seen these before. Interesting. I guess there'll be some quest information on how to get primal life essence down the line. Okay, then fine with me. But it seems like elemental reduction fluid might not be the path I'm going, because that I also need to have an infinite source of fluorine, which was usually lepidolite is the most common source. And that just sounds like too much of a pain to do. So, god damn it, do I have to be a bitch and really pump the nether, man? Don't say it's so. Really don't want to pump the nether. Mining with my auto smelt. Mining with my auto smelt. Mining with my auto smelt hammer. Getting really easy tin. Getting really easy tin. Alright, so this clip is just to show the jankiness of the GregTech axe system. So, actually first let me clear out my inventory and get all the random ores out. So basically how it works is that the GregTech axe just searches for other trees or all leaves, all logs that it can cut down, right? Anything that an axe will normally work on. And when it actually reaches the end, it'll start to be cutting down, usually at the farthest point away from you, and you won't really notice it. Like your entire axe could actually die before you even notice anything. So here's what I do. I normally keep like wrought iron axe heads inside this chest because normal axes don't stack and all these won't fit. So you know, I could just craft them really easy. I'll take 4 of these axes and I'll just chop this one down, right? And you see the durability is going down, but nothing's happening. Durability is going down because it's cutting stuff up at top. If you're worried it's going to run out, you can just switch over to I just mouse wheel over to the next axe, and there you go. Everything's cut down. Okay, guys, so one big lesson I want to impart to you is that when you're going through Greg Tech and all this stuff, when you get to my area and you have to make like these motors, personally, I would rather, this thing should say like make 32 to 48 motors. I made a stack myself, just because I think you're going to be using a stack. In fact, I have no idea where the motors went. You ever make a stack of something? Okay, yeah, I made like 56 motors and then I put 16. So I made a stack and then some for pumps. But motors are like the bread and butter of a lot of Greg Tech machines and subcrafting components, because it starts with motors and then they can turn into a conveyor module, they can turn into, you know, electric pistons, whatnot. So really you wanna start there, and you'll always be using motors. In fact, when you tier up, like when you go to MV and you start making your MV stuff and you get aluminum for the first time, make a stack of MV motors. Same thing when you get stainless steel, make a stack of HV motors. Because you'll be either using them for pumps, you'll be using them for I don't know, something crazy. In the end, just, you know, bulk craft until you get to AE2. Then you can start doing on-demand crafting, but just do bulk craft and don't be afraid that like, oh man, I can have better processing later. It's just like me with my worries about upgrades when I was making mining tools. You'll have more than enough resources. You won't miss it. In fact, your most valuable resource is just how much time you spend playing. And I guess it's also up to you. Like, what's really more enjoyable? Some people do enjoy just like making the most out of their minuscule resources, and being frugal. But at the same time, it's like resources are abundant. They're everywhere, and they're so easy for you to get because you have 3x3 mining. So you really just want to, you know, bulk craft, shift click everything. You know, one of the biggest downsides of not having the crafting station that you can't shift click into the crafting bench because I'm that lazy. But really, like, you want to just be making a bulk crafts of these things. Okay, guys, this is going to be a little bit disappointing. I was looking at my stores and I realized, oh, I need more sphalerite. Just because to get gallium you need sphalerite. Mostly you can get it from centrifuging impure piles of sphalerite, which means though to get the impure pile you actually have to break it down into dust form, so you can't smelt it. So you got to get the ore. So I guess you guys could probably guess where this is going now. So I was like, all right, let me make a new hammer. I enchant that sucker, and I saw efficiency 5, and I grabbed it, and I also saw that it had unbreaking, and I loved it. Then I also saw that auto spelt, and it was such a tease. This is probably like the second best hammer that I've got right now. Well, this is the best hammer I've ever gotten, and it's good for every single ore I need to mine. Okay, guys, this is gonna be a little bit disappointing. I'm too angry to care right now. All right, so, damn it. I kind of want to throw it away, but it's so pretty. Even has Fortune 3. I didn't even notice that before. I don't even know how Fortune. If you're wondering, auto smelt and Fortune 3 do not interact in any significant manner, so you don't have to worry about that either.